Everybody, my name is Mark, aka Baby Step Chef, as you might have seen from other videos or my Instagram possibly. Today is February 14th, a Valentine's Day, and a Friday night. I was supposed to go out tonight to hit the club with some friends, but car's in the shop. I figured it might be relevant on this Valentine's Day for me to discuss how I came to know true love as a single guy in his 20s. And, keep this in mind. It's not like an advertisement for anything like that. But I think this has been something that has been pertinent and kind of overwhelming in my mind over the past few months, I want to say. Let's do this one more time. Am I recording? So, how did I come to know true love as a single, very ready to mingle guy in his 20s? I think I can chart this out to 3 major moments. The first of which was coming to know prayer, interestingly enough. The second of which was an idea proposed to me during a dinner. And a third was the application of that idea. How did I come to know prayer? Well, it's a bit of a long story. And keep in mind, I have not always been particularly religious until January 2023. But anyway, after graduating from undergrad, I had this very intense longing to take up some kind of charity or perform some kind of goodwill in the world. And I think that is, due to some spiritual awakenings I've had beforehand, which, I think I'll try to explore in another video. After graduating, my brother and I had planned on going to Vietnam, which would be my first time. And that's where my family's from, by the way. So we were planning to take a trip to Vietnam. And in our planning, my brother asked me if I would be interested in doing any sort of service work or service opportunities, to which I said yes. The first of which was this shelter, and the name of the shelter was One Body Village, which is a charity that operates in Southeast Asia that helps and rescues children from sexual abuse and exploitation. I'm thinking about doing a separate video about my connection to this charity. But anyway, so my brother and I, we visit this shelter. We have the most fantastic time with these sweet, precious little angels, ranging in age from like 5 to, college age, right? We play board games with them. We sing with them. We give them American candies. It's just an overall great time. The second place we went to was an orphanage in central Vietnam. And this orphanage was home to physically and mentally disabled children. And I'm going to say something that, might ruffle some feathers, but it's the honest truth, in that, these children, they're not particularly, aesthetically pleasing to look at, right? Some of them have deformed faces, others have deformed body parts, etc. It's honestly kind of uncomfortable to look at these children, right? It was uncomfortable for me to look at these children sometimes, and honestly awkward at times, because it's not an experience I'm used to. And I was also kind of scared that if I was looking at one of these kids, they would think that I was looking at them the wrong way, or I was looking at them kind of funny, etc., etc. But then I realized that, if I'm not willing to be the one to look at these children straight in the eye, then who was going to? For the kids at OBV, they're all sweet, cute little girls, and that made it really easy for me to have, a natural affinity with them. I saw them as my little sisters and daughters, right? But for these children at this orphanage, it dawned on me that it's our responsibility to find this beauty in them, to find this beauty in those that are less fortunate than us. in those that weren't blessed with the same gifts that we have, and to help them. Then I wondered, how can we help these children? You know, my brother said some harsh but true words, that some of these kids, you know, they don't have any control over their muscles or their bodies, and they're ultimately waiting to die. And I think at that moment, I came to understand at least one of the utilities of prayer, in that it's a way you can give, it's a way you can help when all your other options have been exhausted. When something is maybe totally outside of your control. You know, all of these kids, both those at the OBV shelter and those at the orphanage, they're all the way across the planet right now. And the only thing I can really offer to them is money. But outside of that, what can I possibly do? What capability do I really have? And that's when I settled upon this conclusion that prayer was the answer. Now, you know, even though I came to that conclusion, right? Me being the boisterous young Catholic, I wasn't going to listen to myself. I wasn't going to listen to what the Lord was trying to tell me. But then, you know, we go into this second moment I had. I was invited, or me and my brother, we were invited to this dinner with this one family, or by this one family. And I admire this family a lot. They're very devout Catholics themselves, both the parents as well as, you know, their lovely children. But one of the main pieces of advice, one of the most valuable pieces of advice I got at that dinner, and also just in general, while we were talking about relationships and marriage, and especially during, you know, today's trying times, one of the most important pieces of advice I received was to pray for your future wife. It never really occurred to me that I could even do that, you know? Yes, I know it's possible to pray for people you don't know. You know, you pray for people across the world when they're, you know, encountering whatever tragedies, etc. But I had never realized that I could do that for my future wife. Like the young, boisterous Catholic that I am, I do not heed her advice, right? I go for months without really taking what she had to say seriously, and without saying a lick of prayer to my future wife. And honestly, really like anybody. So it isn't until months later that one night when I'm about to go to bed, I'm just overcome with this necessity to pray. What stood out about this prayer was that it was not at all for me. I prayed on behalf of my parents. I prayed on behalf of my brother. I prayed on behalf of the kids at OBV and the orphanage. And lastly, I prayed for my future wife. You know, I said things along the lines of like, Lord, please take care of her. Please surround her with people that show her nothing but love and care. Help her achieve her goals, etc., etc. But I don't even think it's necessarily what I prayed about or what I said, but it was more the manner by which I prayed. I really, really genuinely meant this prayer, and I wanted the Lord to heed it. And so it felt to me like I was prostrating myself before the Lord. Not in like a desperate way, but as in like a full and willing submission to his plan. And I think at that moment is when I understood what true love was. It's this complete submission, this total giving of yourself. I think before that point, when I imagined true love and I imagined a life with my future wife, I think a lot of times I was thinking about how happy I'd be and how in love I'd be, maybe even how happy we'd be. But I feel like since that final moment, that night of total submission to God, when I think of my future wife now, I always think about how excited I am to give myself to this person, to hopefully show human love to this person like they have never seen before. This is editing Mark here. I think to drive this point home in a way that's maybe a little more eloquent than how I've been speaking, just kind of free-flowing to you guys, I wanted to read you guys an email that I wrote myself in the middle of my work day. So don't tell my bosses, but I write, when I make the conscious decision to give myself to others, to pray, to accept the Lord into my life, all things seem to fall into place. I feel more productive. I feel like I have a goal to work towards. I feel like my life has meaning. And I feel especially emotional, which is a topic I want to cover in a separate video. But through this complete and willing submission, I'm compelled towards goodwill. What an interesting paradox, that through my own free will, I've chosen to follow and be guided towards what is good. Rather than feeling subjugated or despairing my lack of agency, I instead feel the most clarity and the most free I've ever felt. That I'm not bounded by hesitation, confusion, or the complexity of past or future, but instead liberated by the righteousness of the present. Hope you enjoyed. When I was in my final year of college and I was chasing these girls, and I was solely chasing them, in case they see this, I'm sorry, but a large reason why I was chasing them was because I found them attractive. I didn't really consider whether I was good for them or what I could offer them from a potential relationship. It was always just me just wanting to be in a relationship, me wanting someone. I guess that's my long and drawn out way of explaining to you guys how I came to know true love as a random single dude in his 20s. Just reminiscing on Valentine's Day. Anyway, now you might ask, okay, this true love, this complete giving of yourself, that sounds kind of like a slippery slope. Could there be problems in that? Let's further define this true love, right? When I say true love is a complete giving of yourself to another person, there is inherent in this definition no expectation of anything in return. I think that expectation is what leads, some relationship to go awry. And thus, even in a one-sided relationship, right? I think true love can still exist. I think my primary example for that would be, these children, these OBV children and the children at the orphanage. They might have forgotten who I am. A non-trivial number of them probably don't even know me. But I can say from the bottom of my heart that I truly love these children and I wish nothing but the best for them. So yes, in the context of a relationship, things are slightly different in terms of, practicality. Because I think in a truly good relationship, both parties are dedicated to this implementation of true love. That is complete and conditionless giving to the other person. So yeah, I didn't think I'd get that far, and honestly don't know how to conclude this video, but this is just one of my baby steps through life. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye.